Hey guys, I hope you're all well. I've been running through my head since last night and all through today on how is best to do this. And because there's quite a lot to get across to you in this one video, I thought it was literally just best to put the camera on and just talk it all out. So, as promised, here's the video update for an explanation for everything that happened regarding the GoFundMe campaign. Now, if you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, I mean, we did share it across all of our social medias last night, but with the algorithm being how it is right now, there's a massive chance that you didn't see it. So if you are wondering what we're talking about, last night Ryders released a GoFundMe campaign. Now, the aim was to raise as much money as we possibly could to put towards building our own band room, like rehearsal room, like lock-up sort of space. We branded it like Band HQ or like Band Hub or something like that, and that was the idea basically, because for the last 3 years, Ryders Creed, pretty much since about maybe a month or two into actually being Ryders Creed, we snapped up an offer to have a room in a building in Wednesbury that was called a lock-up, and when we were offered it, it was £160 per month for 24/7 access. You know, a room that we could rehearse in, do all manner of band things in there, and to store our gear safely on a 24/7 basis as well. So we could just leave it set up, and whenever we wanted to go down to the lockup, we had that space to go and do so. Now that's what we've had for the last 3 years, and because it fell into our laps based on a friend of ours sort of offering it to us and telling us about it, sort of thing, back when we first started the band, we just thought that that was natural thing. We just thought that that was a great opportunity. You know, we snapped their arm off for it, and we were paying for it. We've had it for 3 years. We just thought that every band like us within the industry sort of had one. We had no other knowledge or perspective on that. So when that was taken away from us at the end of last month, we got into a bit of a like panic stations and worried about where we can rehearse, worried about what we can do, thought that we wouldn't be able to afford to do anything. We needed our own lock-up space. £160 a month was a very, very cheap amount of money to be spending for what we had, and we just panicked, and we thought, okay, well let's look for different places. Let's go. Let's look here. Let's look there. We scoured Staffordshire for some sort of alternative that we could jump right into from what we had, and there just wasn't anything anywhere. So we thought to ourselves, okay, well, what can we do? Well, let's ask our fans for help. Let's ask our peers, our friends, our family, our fans for help, for a little bit of financial help, just to raise as much money as we possibly could over a certain amount of time, and build our own room. You know, make a deal with like a farmer or something, and get like a pig shed or a cow shed or a stable building or something with just 4 walls and a roof that we could build what we needed inside of, but still rent that out for a dirt cheap amount of money. You know, preferably we were aiming to go for paying less per month than what we originally were. So we set up this GoFundMe campaign. We wrote this story, did this video and whatever, and you know, all of our intentions were positive. All of our intentions were genuine and you know, sort of honest and transparent, and we didn't want to. We just wanted help. That's all we wanted. We just wanted to put something out there, and whoever wanted to help could help, and whoever didn't want to help didn't have to, and you know, whoever wanted to donate would, and whoever didn't want to didn't have to. You know, we weren't forcing anybody to do anything. We were just putting it out there and just asking, because we wanted to go from what we had to somewhere where we have that again, sort of thing, you know, as opposed to what felt like taking a back step, what felt like something that was going to cause us to have a lot of difficulty in the future, which would be going back to pay per hour rehearsals. And that was where our heads were at. That was where we were at. However, once we launched this GoFundMe campaign and realised that it was doing really, really well, I mean, for the most part, we had a massively positive reaction. We had so much support and kindness and generosity coming from everybody, and we would just like to say an absolutely massive thank you to every single person that donated. Honestly, your kindness and your love and support and your generosity during that time was absolutely incredible. It was something that we genuinely didn't expect, to the point where in just 7 short hours we actually ended up raising from donations from you guys a total of just over £1,100, which in 7 hours is insane. That's an amazing amount of money, and would have gone towards what we wanted it to go towards. We would have done everything with it. You know, we'd have been really transparent with it. You'd have had behind the scenes updates. You'd have had proof that we were using the money to do what we said we were going to do, and it was all going really well. Also, we thought, until we had a few people comment on it, you know, a bit kind of skeptical about what it was for, and would they get their money back, and were they going to receive anything for giving something. So rather than like a selfless donation, it was more of like, would this be an exchange, like a bit like a pledge music thing. And then we had a few people comment on it, and this is really the moment where some clarity and a different perspective on what we were doing and on the attitude that we were taking towards it came in. We didn't realise, because obviously we've had this lock-up space for 3 years, you know, the entire time that we've been Ryders Creed, everything we've ever done. We've written 2 albums in there, we've filmed part of a music video in there, we've done loads of behind-the-scenes things in there, we've become very attached to this place, become very sort of reliant on this place being there, and very used to the process of having a lock-up and whatever, and we just kind of ended up taking it a bit for granted, I suppose. And because of all that, we didn't know that in the industry, especially for bands of our size, and you know, and up-and-coming bands and smaller bands and bands bigger than us as well, like literally right up to semi-pro and professional bands, some of them don't even have, in fact most of them, 99% of bands, don't actually have their own lock-up spaces. And we didn't know that. We didn't know that the majority of bands within the industry were paid to rehearsal studios and rehearsal spaces and stuff like that, pay per hour sort of things. We didn't know, because we were comfortably in this thing. We thought everybody else was. We assumed, and we should never have assumed, and that was our downfall ultimately. And we apologise, because we really apologise. We apologise profusely, because what that did was that created a lack of perspective and a lack of understanding on our side of the fence, that meant that us releasing a GoFundMe campaign, asking people during a pandemic to donate whatever they could towards us being able to build something which in the industry is classed as a luxury. It's literally, it's a speck of gold dust in the industry for a band to have their own space, to have their own lockup, to have somewhere that they can call their own for 24 hours a day, every day, for a year and multiple years and whatever, their own space. It's a speck of gold dust. It's literally the needle in the proverbial haystack, and we had no idea. We genuinely had no idea. We just thought, oh, bands did what they could, sort of thing. Because this room, as productive as it was and amazing as it was a shithole. It was in a building that was practically falling down. Paint was peeling off. There were cobwebs everywhere. Cigarette burns everywhere, and the only real rules was just respect everybody else in the other rooms and pay your rent on time, and that was kind of it. So we had none of this perspective. We didn't know. And that's why what we were doing came across to our peers within the industry, and came across to people that we know and people that we love and people that we admire, other bands and musicians and producers and people within the industry like ourselves. That's why that came across potentially as insensitive and a bit over the top, and a bit like, whoa, what do you mean you need £10,000 to build a lockup, otherwise your band's going to fold, which is how it looked to everybody, which isn't how we intended it to be. Like, the £10,000 buffer was literally just so that if we fell anywhere in between nothing and 10 grand, we'd be happy. We weren't targeting ourselves to earn £10,000, which obviously was confusing because it said £10,000 on it. But, you know, we did put an edit in there and make sure that we tried to explain that. But we can understand why that was seen that way. And when we said that this could be the end of Ryders Creed, we didn't mean that it would be like a permanent end of the band. We didn't mean that we would break up if we couldn't build our own lockup. We just meant that, you know, we'd fall into a hiatus whilst we get something sorted. And whilst we're getting something sorted, the iron would go cold, momentum would stop building, all the hype that we've built for the band over the new releases and stuff like that, the attention and the activity that we were getting from our fans and everything, you know, would fall and we'd fizzle out for a time, and then it would be even more difficult to sort of come back and try and catch up and get to that point again. That's what we meant, but obviously it came across in the wrong way. You know, written text, people can misinterpret and read things in different ways and take what they want out of it and all this kind of stuff. So it just became something that was a bit confusing for a few people. Which leads us to the next point, and the next point is that we've got to say a massive thank you. Not only to everybody that donated, because everybody that donated, you're amazing, thank you very, very much. However, we have closed the campaign, actioned the refund process, and your refunds will be with you within 3 to 7 days from GoFundMe. We didn't withdraw any of it, we haven't got any of that money. We weren't going to do so until we actually found a place. So you'll get all your money back, but thank you so much for donating. Honestly, you people are amazing, and it's really heartwarming to know that we have that kind of a support system and response, which is amazing. So thank you so much. But we've also got to thank a few people. Heather Leone, Dan Hicks, Graham Margetts, Greg Chandler, a couple of other people that commented relatively similar things, and Wyatt Wendels of Planet Rock Radio. Reason why we've got to thank these people is because these are the people that saw something wrong in what we were doing and how we were doing it. And these are people from within the industry that have their own bands, that know the industry, they have their own music industry businesses, and a couple of them jumped on the fact that we were asking for £10,000, which is why I've clarified that was just a price buffer, that if we fell anywhere in between we'd have been happy. But we can understand why the confusion was there, and that's our fault. But most of them jumped on the fact that being in bands themselves and working in the music industry and having worked with other bands and doing this, that and the other everywhere themselves, they pay per hour to rehearse at rehearsal studio rooms, and they rehearse less than what we were at our lockup for because of the money situation, because we're not made of money, we're musicians, you know. And the fact that what we were saying was going to be really, really difficult, and that lack of perspective that we had meant that we'd lost our adaptability, and we'd lost the ability to sort of go, okay, yep, no worries, we haven't got a lockup anymore, but there's this place, and there's this place, and we can do this, and we can do that, and all of these things. So we had messages from people like Heather and Dan, and we had comments and whatever from people like Wyatt and you know, Greg sent us a message and stuff, and basically was just saying, look, there are ways around this that don't involve asking your fans for charitable donations or asking people for money or asking the public for money. There are ways around it that you can do it, you know. And ultimately the perspective is, and what's changed in our heads, which is where we're at now, so we're on the same page as these guys now, is that it's cheating. You know, asking people for money so that we can build our own lockup. If we worked our asses off in the band and we got enough royalties and we made enough money from gigging and we made enough money from merchandise and we marketed ourselves properly and we pushed ourselves out there properly and made the money that way properly, business-wise, to get the money enough to build our own lockup, then we can do that. We can build our own lockup because we've earned that money. But asking people during a pandemic for donations to give towards something that's considered a luxury in the industry that 99% of other bands don't have is cheeky as hell. And you did have very, very valid points. And, you know, good things in life come to those who work their asses off for it, not to people who beg for money off the public, which is a perspective that we didn't have before, because all we thought was we just wanted to go from what we had and we wanted that again. So this video hopefully has just explained our thought process and the journey that we've gone through over the past few hours to get to this point, and we want to apologise to all of our peers, all of our fellow musicians in the industry, all of the musical industry contacts and people we have on our Facebook, and people that support us, and people that work within the industry themselves as well, business owners, blah blah blah. We want to apologise if we came across as massively insensitive. We want to apologise if we've upset, offend or annoyed anybody. We hate the idea of leaving bad tastes in any of your mouths about our band and about who we are as people. That was not our intention at all. We literally only meant the best possible outcome, and we only meant to be positive and to try and build this thing and try and keep going and whatever. But what we realise is that out of a panicked state, thinking only about money and really collapsing in on ourselves really, and only thinking about ourselves, we realise that we made a mistake. The way we went about it shouldn't have been done that way, regardless of the fact that it was actually quite successful in regards to raising enough money. That's why we've given it all back and just kind of stopped it. And yeah, we apologise for that came across as something that really sort of wasn't very professional and wasn't how we should have done it, and we apologise, and we really hope that you all don't think badly or differently of us for doing that. We are all human at the end of the day. We do make mistakes, you know, us included. We've made so many mistakes, and we will continue to make mistakes, and making mistakes is part of the learning process. It's part of the self-growth process. It's part of the business process. You have to make mistakes, you have to fail, and you have to keep getting back up, and you have to learn from everything and all these steps and whatever, which is what Wyatt and Heather and Dan and Greg and Graham and whatnot, and all the people that pointed out that we were doing something we shouldn't be doing. It's why they have been so understanding and so lovely about it, and they've been so supportive, and they've been giving us advice and guidance as to where to go, what to do, how to do it and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about really. It's about helping each other out. So I know that I've rambled on for like nearly 20 minutes in this video, but it was important that we got this message across to you. And obviously, as you can tell, there was no way of writing this out in a massive long paragraph or whatever, or a massive long essay, than just posting it. You know, it was better if it can come from me, from the band, obviously, but the band can't be here. We've discussed it, and this is kind of the thought process, where we were at, where we now are at, and how we move forward productively in the industry is by having that external and that outside the box, and that consideration for everybody else, that perspective that we have always had. It's just we lost it during this pandemic, and during the situation that we've just been put in by losing our lockup and stuff. We kind of lost it and fell into a bit of a panic state. But having that perspective is important, and having that attitude and that consideration and that courtesy towards the rest of everybody else in the industry that is struggling and scraping just like everybody else, that's important. And although, yes, this is a brilliant community of people that really want to help everybody out, using fans, using the community, using nice people for financial donations towards something that is considered a luxury that should be worked hard towards is not the way to go about it. And so we massively apologise. We wish you all well. We thank you all again, and we really hope that when everything gets back up and running and the music industry gets back to its feet and gigs start happening again, that you won't think any worse of us, you know, and that we can all enjoy a drink at the bar and enjoy a good laugh and a catch up and play some awesome music and enjoy loads of bands and have a really good time within the industry. We'll figure out our shit on our end. We've got a lot of thinking to do and a lot of planning to do and a lot of sort of forward thinking to do, keeping in mind that perspective at all times. And you guys take care, be safe, look after each other, keep on being lovely and carry on being generous and carry on being amazing people, and stand up for what is correct and right the wrongs when you see them, because that's what we needed to happen for us. It's worked. and we'll try and advocate that in the future. So thank you very, very much. We love every single one of you, and take it easy.